Okay, so let's go ahead and do we have our pairing ready for this round? Do we have deck lists? Do we have player names? Okay, we're gonna take. Okay, I've been told to expect 10 seconds.
All right, I'm
That's briefing
clock's
us.
on.
They could have just stalled for that long and it just kept me in the dark. But okay, so
I appreciate the production's openness too. It's always a great feeling when you know what's going. Oh, all right. Someone's talking to me right now. Yeah, but like looking at the 5-0 list right now. So I think the interesting one that I want to look at is like maybe Maverick. We can talk about it while things are getting set up. But this is the list that we saw earlier with the two Kaya Orzhov usurpers. You know, it's really interesting. I haven't seen. Oh, it looks like the deck lists are up here. Cool. I haven't seen too much Maverick lately. I guess tournament structure, Joe, clarify for me. Are intentional draws allowed? Are these two 5-0 players locked for top 8 now?
they are okay. They are drawing in, and yeah, we are allowing intentional draws. That's kind of been, I know that's been an ongoing debate more recently in months and years, and even I saw a big conversation jump up about it just in the last week, as far as allowing draws in Magic, because Magic Online used to, a long time ago, used to allow draws in
really?
the program. It no longer does that. Arena does not allow draws, but in the high-level Wizard events, some of them are allowing draws to happen because they're able to do it outside the program in the pairing software in MTG Melee, which is what everyone's using. So it's kind of interesting. Should we allow draws? Should we not? I feel like my personal feeling is that online, you don't necessarily have to allow draws, but in paper, you do have to allow them, because if you allow unintentional draws, then I think you have to allow intentional draws. Otherwise, you end up with a kind of a collusive system that's, just, it's too tempting for people to mess with the system. So I think if you're going to allow accidental draws, you have to allow intentional ones. And I think we're not getting away from allowing paper accidental. So I think we're stuck with it. And I think that's just, I'm fine with that. Some people aren't, if they're only in online gaming history. I understand that, but
yeah,
we are allowing it. The top players are drawing, but what we're going to watch this round, we're going to see Keegan Hopper with Grixis Delver.
This is a blast from the past. I have not seen this color combination in a hot second, Joe.
Yeah, so I noticed this morning we did not have the blue-green Delver deck that I was looking forward to, but unsurprisingly, but we did have Rug Delver, Grixis Delver, and Blue-Red Delver in the event today, and maybe Sultai also, I can't remember, but here we have Grixis Delver so we have Thoughtseize in place of some of our spell interaction that's obviously not present in the Rug versions, and our creatures are not even that much smaller because Gurmag Angler is pretty big boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the one thing that we are lacking in this deck is definitely Oko, Thief of Crowns. I mean, that's probably one of the cards that has come to define the Delver archetype, which is kind of strange to say. But here, you're right. We do have a couple diverse threats. We've got, obviously we've got Dreadhorde Arcanist. This is just stock, Delver in 2020. We've also got Young Pyromancer to go wide, Brazen Borrower for some utility spells, and then, rounding it up with the heavy hitter Gurmag Angler, which is like the Tarmogoyf of this version. Another reason to play the Grixis color combination, you've got Thoughtseize to, interact with your opponent, whether they're combo or fair. And then the card that I'm really interested to see perform today is Eliminate. Now, this is a new card that has been printed in, I think, M21, which is a mono black, destroy target creature or planeswalker with CMC 3 or less. Do you know what that hits, Joe?
Yeah, I know it hits Oko, and I know that's a very big deal. Yeah, so that's cool. I wouldn't have been surprised to see more than one here. Now, let's go ahead and look at Keegan's opponent. Is going to be also interesting. There is a basic land deck, which we don't always see. We have Justin Brickman playing 5 color really, Snow, counting the sideboard cards. So this one does have Dead of Winter though, which is different from some of the other Snow decks we saw today.
I'm looking for it, Joe. I'm looking for it. Where is it? All right, we got the one-of Shark Typhoon, baby. It's time to pop off.
I should have known. I was like, what is he saying? He's looking for it, but yeah, obviously. So, people that didn't watch the show last month may want to go back and watch. I don't know what round it was, maybe like round 5 when Anuraag debuted his shark costume. That was something.
Oh man, you're really doing me like that, huh? Okay, I see how it is.
What are you talking about? I'm hyping you up.
No, I do like it. I had to retire the shark outfit. I'm too old now. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. We see double Dreadhorde Arcanist in the opener for Keegan, and Ponder is going to find Thoughtseize and a couple cantrips. So I have to imagine this is good. This is what you want.
Boy, against a combo deck, Thoughtseize and Arcanist, that's nice.
Very, very. And we've even got the turn 2 Daze for backup as well. So all in all, looking pretty good from Keegan's perspective. Island into Ponder is Fencing Brick's play, Justin's play. I'm going to see, he chooses not to shuffle. So that's going to be pretty good here.
So no shot of anything like Abrupt Decay on turn 2, but there could be some other removal spells. We'll see, because this Arcanist is going to want to be dealt with, and dealing with a counter spell is not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, even here you can't risk the Daze here, which Keegan does have, so that does complicate it. And this is the power of the Delver deck, right? You were able to put out a threat as crazy as Dreadhorde Arcanist as fast as turn 1, and then you can protect it with cheap counter magic like Daze to guarantee that it's going to connect, that guarantee that it's going to draw cards here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this could be a very brutal turn.
Yeah, definitely. And it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind. Oh, okay. On upkeep, we've got effects. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe this is a Swords to Plowshares to make sure that the Dreadhorde can't attack.
Yeah, that would be good. Now, what do you do here? So the choice is, do you cantrip to try and find a force, or do you just let it die and then play the other one?
Yeah, my gut reaction, because we had the second one in our hand, I would play a little bit slowly and just let this one go through. We do have a Daze to stop a potential 3-drop, so it's not like the Dreadhorde Arcanist isn't going to connect, and especially since they've pulled out the sort of snow-covered plains, they might not even have an Abrupt Decay for the turn after, so there's a little bit of back and forth here, but...
So by waiting for the upkeep there, we see the Force of Negation can't be pitch cast, we're just going to go with double Daze.
And I think this is a pretty reasonable line here, right? Once you brainstorm, I think you are actually just locked into doing some crazy powerful plays here. Now, obviously, you're going to get set back on mana a lot here by returning both your islands to your hand, but Dreadhorde Arcanist is just the kind of card that's so powerful that it's worth it in certain scenarios to make sure that you can untap and connect and attack with this.
And I think it is pretty relevant that since there was no third land anyway, we double Dazed, but we only lost one land drop really, because we weren't going to miss. We were going to miss anyway, and we get to use the mana. So yeah, this was pretty. This is a pretty nice turn. Ooh, nice hand there.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's interesting. So we chose to take the Brainstorm. I think I saw 2 copies of Oko.
Right. So I did. Yeah. So I guess we're planning on countering one of them, which that makes sense. No.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So I think the plan here is just to maybe keep the game condensed or we could be maybe trying to find what's that card called? Lightning Bolt to maybe combine with the Dreadhorde Arcanist to take down something like one of the Okos. That's an interesting selection of choices here. So I guess Keegan has chosen to take the Brainstorm and the Sylvan Library. Oh. What are some of the other combinations? You could have maybe Thoughtseize away both of the Okos, right?
Right. That's kind of what I was expecting. Now, and we see Oko not even cast here. Instead, we went with Uro from Justin it plays around the Force of Negation, which he doesn't know about. But so let's see here. Now we're going to play. Now we still have options here. I think, we'll play one of those red creatures, obviously. Get in with the Arcanist again. And yeah, Oko is... Oko is obviously not as great on an established board position, which is what this is going to be.
Yeah, 100%. I think here we're going to definitely look for some sort of removal spell that can kill the Oko, whether it is Eliminate or Lightning Bolt. That's going to be pretty good here. I do like that Justin actually deploys the Uro out here. One of the most important things about this matchup is making sure that your mana does get developed, and that's what Justin is doing. This Ponder is going to shuffle here. It did have the Lightning Bolt that we were looking for, but the Delver and the Pyromancer not exactly what we want to supplement the current board state, right? Here, I think we're just looking for more counters, maybe another Lightning Bolt if we can find it.
Yeah, so Oko turning Arcanist into an Elk, which is probably what would be desirable here, is actually going to result in Oko dying, so that's becomes less great of a play. Astrolabe comes in. Animating an Astrolabe isn't too exciting. It's okay.
It's certainly better than nothing, I'll tell you that much. I mean, being able to block the 1/3 so that it can't continue to draw cards is nice. And then, A 3/3 is definitely like the perfect number to stop Young Pyromancer and the tokens. Hashtag Brightling anybody. But we'll see what happens here, whether or not we have another land to play, and then if we buy back the Uro or the just deploy one of the two Okos.
Yeah, maybe Justin is actually onto something here, in that the most reliable threat you can resolve is the Uro, and the biggest. So if he just throws other cards out here and lets Keegan deal with them, and then next turn we come in with the Uro.
Okay.
Takes down the Pyromancer.
That's interesting. I like that line, actually.
Do you?
My gut reaction is to take down the Dreadhorde Arcanist, but then thinking about the matchup and what we have access to right now, so we have we had double Oko. They're about to get stripped away very quickly, but Uro, again, is just like one of the end-all be-alls of this format. And, your opponent can draw 17,000 cards, but, that's one way to do it, I guess. But Uro just seems to impact the board in such a crazy way that I wouldn't be surprised if, like, we're saying that, okay, the 1/3s don't matter because the cards that you're drawing actually don't matter because you don't have a way to actually beat the 6/6 that I'm about to put into play next turn.
Right. Yeah, so... Yeah, maybe the reasoning for killing the Pyromancer is, there's no blockers for the attacks, but with the free tokens. But I don't love that. Okay.
Yeah, perhaps Justin is just thinking right now the only way that he can actually lose this game is if his opponent goes wide with the Pyromancer, and just nipping that line in the bud right now might just be how he envisions that he's going to win the game. We'll actually see what plays out shortly, but it looks like the Titan of Nature's Wrath has something to say here.
Yeah, so Uro is in, and I believe there's an Angler in the top two cards, so that can team up with the token to take down the Uro, but Uros have a bad habit of not staying away after you kill them.
Yeah, and and in this matchup too, we kind of just see how, like, we don't have Oko to actually elk the Uro, so we have to find exactly Lightning Bolt or Eliminate. The Gurmag Angler doesn't even line up well because, 5 is mathematically less than 6. Cool, we did it. But here...
A bolt or Eliminate. We may find it. We didn't find it yet. But because the Arcanist ability recast, either one will take down the Uro.
Yeah, interesting. So what do you think are the two worst cards here, or how do you actually think that Keegan needs to develop his board in this position?
I think Arcanist goes, and I might even be Angler, because if the Uro's going to stick, I don't think Angler's the greatest answer to it, although it's something. But I think I want to fetch, and I want to have Preordain.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's interesting too. Yeah, I think I agree with you. We know that there's the third Oko in Justin's hand. We need to have some way to handle it or answer it. Yeah. Maybe we rely on the Dreadhorde Arcanist for that, but it just seems like right now that the Gurmag Angler isn't particularly useful. We did find the Lightning Bolt off the Brainstorm, though. That is clutch.
Yeah, this is very nice. Oof. If we want to be able to flip the Delver next turn, though, the Force of Negation has to go back. And, Keegan decides against that, which I think is totally reasonable. He keeps the Force of Negation live in hand. And, so this is chewing up a lot of resources, but the Duro is gone. And this is, killing that Pyromancer is great and all, but Dreadhorde Arcanist is such a threat.
Yeah, and we're kind of just seeing here how it's able to take over so many board states, right? Being able to leverage, 2 bolts to kill the Uro. Uro isn't necessarily gone. A couple more cards and you can just escape it again here. But given the current board state, it's fine. We're currently treading water, and that's fine. There's opponents still at a pretty healthy life total here, just 19 from all the life that we've gained off of Uro. But this Oko finally connecting.
Big. So Justin's out of cards now, but being able to shut off the Arcanist here. And then Oko will... that's not the way he chooses to go. All right, so we animate Astrolabe, which can block and kill the Arcanist, which is also worth something, and also makes the Oko just survive with much more loyalty than it would have otherwise.
I am guilty of this a lot. I almost wonder if Justin may have wanted to animate the other Arkham's Astrolabe to attack. His opponent is at 9. 3 plus 6 is 9, which is exactly the number of Elks you've got going on here. It's kind of interesting whether he may have just the Magic Online interface. Sometimes I've gotten got by animating the summoning sick one, so
yeah,
it's tricky.
Certainly, it could have been an accident, or I mean, it's also possible he just wasn't planning on attacking, in which case it didn't make any difference at all.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this way he gets to kill the Arcanist, and obviously Keegan doesn't have much left beyond whatever cantrip he digs up whatever he digs up off the cantrip this turn from the attack, assuming he does attack, which is maybe not guaranteed, and he chooses not to. Okay, so that actually worked out well for Justin.
Right. So we know there's a petty theft on top of the deck for Keegan, and honestly, whoa, wow. I was going to say that Justin needs to top deck something here. Anything, even a land would be good to buy back the Uro. But yeah, let's take it. Back to basics. Off the top is probably going to end the game right here, right now. Except for the island that could.
Get that angler out of here. That's not... Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. That was... Yeah, turning it... Alking it. Okay, so... We still have Arcanist, which probably has to attack now.
Yeah. Back to basics, the absolute haymaker in this matchup. Non-basic lands don't untap. And while, yes, Justin does have 2 duels in play, it is definitely an asymmetrical effect in this matchup, impacting Keegan much, much more, just because he's got so many more duels. Only the 1 basic island in the deck list.
Yeah, although, I mean, Keegan paid off for actually having a basic, which a lot of Delver decks do not, as otherwise he would be completely destroyed right here, as opposed to having at least a chance at getting out of this with the petty theft. Now, decision time on attacking, and I think we probably just have to go in.
I think so too. I think the first step, there's a couple lines we can do, right? The first step is maybe we can try to find another land for Brazen Borrower to just bounce the back to basics, untap, and then do some more things. The second step might just be, this doesn't seem like a good line either, but just maybe, no, actually, you know what? Life totals are so good for Justin that I think that this is the only line. We just have to find a way to get rid of the back to basics, and then
this is tough, boy. Yeah. Okay, there is a land, but I mean, even then, or we bounce back to basics. By then, Justin has another elk can play or something else, and he's 1 card away from having. Oh, so Justin is very incentivized to block here. Actually, Arcanist might live. Justin might want to trade off the Astrolabe for the elk to get the last card in hand in graveyard for Uro.
Yeah, that's a really good consideration here.
I mean, they don't cost him a land, but he obviously knows that, and it's almost certainly worthwhile.
Yeah. Factoring all of this stuff in, I'd have to say that, it's kind of lights out here for Keegan, but we'll see what the future top decks are. I mean, that was a disgusting top deck, back to basics, just freshly drawn.
Okay, so Justin is going to choose to kill the Arcanist, which, I mean, that is completely reasonable. That thing has done a lot of work, and there's still a lot of spells in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm. The Arcanist has taken a Brainstorm, a Sylvan Library, 2 copies of Oko, Thief of Crowns. Let's give it some respect here. It definitely overperformed this game, and
it bolted an Uro out of play. Yeah. A ton. Okay, Justin draws a fetch land. That's huge. I mean, any cantrip would have also done it, but would have cost him a land. This doesn't cost him anything. In fact, he gets to keep the land because he gets to fetch out a basic. And we're going to see...
Okay,
we made a food there.
Buy back the Uro for sure now. And now the 6/6 and the 3/3 means that even if you bounce the Arkham's Astrolabe, you will not be able to connect with the Oko. That is going to survive the turn here. And this is the power of Uro.
Even if you got rid of both creatures, Oko's still going to survive the turn.
Yeah.
This thing is not going anywhere. Yeah, this is... Boy, this back to basics really made a big difference. But given what Keegan has right now, even if there was no back to basics, Justin would be looking okay.
I agree. Yeah.
As it is, Keegan's probably just gonna die.
Right. Yeah, and this just goes to show, right? Like, this is why I think Uro is just one of the de facto control cards in the format right now. It is. Look, the Delver archetype has defined legacy for as long as I've been alive. Okay, maybe not that long, but as long as it's been around here. And I feel like every deck needs to build with the Delver archetype in consideration, right? And Uro is just a sledgehammer in this matchup. If Uro gets to do Uro things, I do not think that the Delver deck is going to be able to, just play a reasonable game of Magic, because it does everything. It gains life, it draws cards, it's a 6/6 that can block and attack. It's just so much stuff that's going on with this card that you have to basically, as a Delver player, keep this card in mind. So it goes both ways, I guess. And that's why we saw earlier when Will was playing with his Rug Delver deck, he had the Clothies, he had the Sylvan Library and the Relic of Progenitus, and he really had Uro just in mind when he was building the deck, right? Here, it's going to be a little bit trickier. I mean, Petty Theft is going to bounce the Uro back to hand, but just given the board state, like it's not going to be enough here. So
yeah, and that's just, I mean, bouncing the Uro or the back to basics there, it really didn't make a difference. The game was over either way.
Right.
So Justin does take down game 1 there. In a second, we'll bring the deck list back up again so we can see how the players might be sideboarding.
Yeah, and I want to take a look at I want to look at Keegan's sideboard kind of strategy he has in mind for this matchup. So we see a couple haymakers in his sideboard already. We see the 2 copies of Narset, Parter of Veils, 3 copies of Pyroblast, potentially Surgical Extraction, and then we've got Nile Spellbomb and Force of Negations as a potential, like other considerations. I definitely want to see him bring in the Narset, Parter of Veils. I think it's exceptionally good against Uro, just stopping one axis of the attack. And then obviously Pyroblast can be an all-star. How do you feel about Surgical Extraction in this matchup?
So we're playing on just hitting Uro, right? That's really all there is?
Yeah, it looks like it.
I mean, I'm definitely on board with the Nihil Spellbomb, but the Surgical itself, I'm not as sure about. I mean, I maybe that's silly because Nihil Spellbomb is just going to slow things down, but it doesn't cost you a card. I think, depending on, if we can only bring in 1 total graveyard card, I would lean towards the Spellbomb. Diabolic Edict is no, that's terrible. I take that back.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that against the Army of Elves. I actually think the Surgical Extraction is kind of justifiable. Again, if you look at the construction of Justin's deck, it really, like, his threats are Oko, Uro, and 1 Shark Typhoon. Okay. And if you can get rid of the Uros, maybe you have a chance of snowballing, right?
Yeah.
Plus,
if you take out the Uros, Pyroblast can handle the whole rest of the deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Plus what? What else you were saying?
Plus, we don't see this often, so yeah, just a reminder, we do have Thoughtseize in the deck, and Thoughtseize synergizes very well with Surgical Extraction, allows you to operate with a little bit more, precision.
Okay. All right. That seems reasonable. I think you've convinced me that if I had 1 to bring in, I'd bring in Surgical. Okay, and we see 1.
Okay. All right. Looks like Keegan agrees. Again, this is a disgusting curve here. We've got the turn 1 cantrip into the turn 2 Arcanist with Force of Will. So
perfect.
Yeah, this is good.
Keep the Delver, I think, as the card to pitch.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is the start that dreams are made of. And in fact, I wonder if there might even be a multimodal line here where if Justin does start with the duel, we could Wasteland it, play the Delver, flip it to the Preordain here. But no such luck. So
yeah, so instead we'll have to settle for playing the Arcanist,
which is, I mean, honestly, that is not even that bad of a follow up. So
we saw game 1, Arcanist just completely ran wild, and it's in play again.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, this time I guess Justin's gonna have access to all his spells because we went Island Astrolabe. So what do we have?
Okay, well, the Swamp Island Astrolabe combo will be able to put an Abrupt Decay onto the stack this turn. Kind of heinous, but, this is the life we live.
Well, this is what we need, and that's... Given that we're redoing this, it may actually be a decay.
Yeah.
Or maybe waiting. That's also...
I kind of get the feeling like Keegan does play a little bit of Hearthstone, clicking around all over the screen, which is even in Arena, where you can click around on pieces of the map and you get that really satisfying ASMR noise that comes out.
Right. Okay. So yeah, we see the blue convert to green and Abrupt Decay take down Dreadhorde Arcanist. Now this hand is still completely fine, but much less threatening than before. And whoa, it looked like there was consideration of Surgical on the Abrupt Decay, which...
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that line. Joe, I really think that, and this is something that I've just learned by talking to Delver players, right? You really need to envision what is your game plan in this match? How are you trying to win? What cards are you trying to beat? And this is pretty good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think Surgical on Abrupt Decay is not exactly how you'd go about doing it. So
Right.
we'll see what happens here. Shields are down temporarily. We took the Thoughtseize over the blue cantrip, so Force of Will not going to have the buddy to pitch, but casting the Thoughtseize may just be better here. Anyways, you can decide, oh my goodness, what to take here, but if there's a card you don't want to see on the other side of the table, it is definitely that Carpet of Flowers. Carpet of Flowers is and this time I'm unironically using the word, it is a banger in the matchup. The amount of mana this card can create is a lot.
Yeah, it's really super. I mean, we can go Carpet here, second main, and then we can go. We can go Uro Caracas.
Yeah, and then we can even bounce the Uro to play around Surgical Extraction. Right. So
yeah,
looks
Uro,
like
I meant that Uro into Caracas bouncing it to leave it. I mean, I don't know that Justin would anticipate Surgical having come in, but you would do this anyway, I think.
Yeah. You get 3 green mana here. This is absolutely disgusting. I just feel like you're supercharging your turn here. You're able to play all your expensive spells through soft permission here. It's just not close. I think this Carpet of Flowers may just steal the game here. And fortunately, Keegan has a Wasteland to handle the Caracas, so it's not going to be a recurring problem.
Right.
But
yeah, so it's mentioned in the chat the possibility of on that Thoughtseize taking Carpet and Surgicaling the other one out of the hand.
That is definitely a line. It's tough, and this is what Keegan has chosen to do. But the tension there is because the tension there exists in A, Carpet of Flowers is the kind of card that can take over the game in this matchup. But B, Uro is also the kind of card that can just take over the matchup, right? So it looks like and C, even Oko is the kind of card that can take over this matchup. So really, it looks like this is how Keegan wants to hedge his bets. He's going to say, look, I'm going to just try to go after your threats. You can have all the toys that you want, but if you can't connect with them over the long term, then all right, then it doesn't really matter, right? So I think this is Keegan saying, look, I'm going to just take it late and hope that I can get there.
Right.
Not sure if that's going to work. We'll see.
And this is kind of probably part of the problem why Surgical has a bad reputation in being brought in against non-graveyard centric decks, is because people fire it off too early, like the consideration on Abrupt Decay, and by holding it, we've enabled it because this is bad, but you're right, we can Wasteland the Caracas, and then the next time we can Surgical the Uro and get back to where we kind of wanted to be. So we gave up some card advantage here, but if the Uros successfully get stripped out of the deck, we're still in a totally reasonable spot.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, right? Uro is actually so good that you could play around Surgical Extraction with the card. Oh, wow. This is the draw. This is the draw. Lossett is just really good in this matchup. Okay.
Yeah, really hoping for any blue card here, I think, over any useful card.
Yeah. We know about the Pyroblast. We want to keep the Lossett around. So we want to be able to force the Pyroblast this turn. Mm-hmm. But what I was going to say is that Surgical is not even 100% to get Uro in this matchup. If we get to 7 mana, there's a window where you can actually cast the Uro immediately before it can get extracted, just leveraging the stack your stacks properly, the whole deal.
Yeah. But it's much harder to get all the way up to 7 mana if you're not able to draw any extra cards through Lossett. That is an issue.
Correct. Right.
And now we're going to see. I mean, drawing Carpet Flowers is great. Having the second carpet isn't really worth much.
Yeah.
It does get us. Actually, I take it back. It gets us. We're already at the point where we don't need 7 mana. We have enough already.
Exactly. There's diminishing returns on mana for sure.
Yeah, but we do have the ability to go Uro flash it back. We just don't have enough cards in graveyard yet.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we lead the turn off with Pyroblast on Lossett so that we can actually get this Uro into play and draw a card off of it.
Right.
That's going to be met with a Force of Will, I imagine, and that's going to be brakes on the
at least
Civic value train.
Yeah. Whoa.
No way. All right. Well, okay, wait. This is actually not the worst here. Veil of Summer did come in clutch. It does stop the Force of Will, but what's going on here?
What is this?
Abrupt Decay. We maybe were trying to get Uro into play. We get 5 cards into the graveyard now for escape reasons.
Yeah. Why didn't we Abrupt Decay the Delver?
Yeah, that may have been just a misclick or something like that. It does make sense to go after both of these cards. But the last card in hand is definitely going to be Uro, and it looks like with the Narsat gone, next turn, Justin's going to be able to set up the 1-2 punch Uro, buy it back.
Yeah. That was a. I don't want to be. Well, I am. I'm always picky. That was pretty sloppy. I mean, even the way that was going to be handled, the Abrupt Decay could have. We either could have drawn an extra card, or we could have killed the Delver, and instead we did neither.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine from this position. I mean, okay, Dreadhorde is in play. That card does complicate things a little bit. I wonder if we're supposed to surgical the Abrupt Decays here just to stop the Uro from coming in. What do you think about that line? It's deep, but it's a thing.
Yeah, well, in that case, we might as well let. Oh, I see. To take a card out of the graveyard, so there's only 4 left.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, that sounds insane to me now, because now that we have the Dreadhorde Arcanist in play, if we surgically extract the Abrupt Decays, we can just buy back.
You want to do it right now?
Yes, so right now.
Stuck in the graveyard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and because there are 2 copies of Abrupt Decay 2, we actually let's see it. Let's see if Keegan pursues this line. It looks like he's not going to do it here. Okay, that's fine, but now he doesn't get the window to surgical extraction. So this is what I was talking about, right? Uro immediately goes to the graveyard. Brickman gets priority back, so he can immediately cast the Uro here, and let's see if the Titan can take over the game.
Yeah, that was very creative, though. That was pretty neat, getting the Abrupt Decays. I mean, if Justin had anything else, it would have failed, but still, it's a chance, and
yeah,
it's a chance that if it had been paid off, Keegan would have been in really good shape, and now, in fact, he's crushed.
Well, we still have Dreadhorde Arcanist, so maybe what we can do is ponder into something clutch like a Pyroblast too.
Do we have Arcanist? I don't think we do.
We still had Dreadhorde Arcanist, but
now we have a stubborn Delver that won't flip over.
I don't know what to do about this one now. This is tricky. A 6/6 is definitely overstated compared to a 1/1, and it looks like it's going to be lights out here. I mean, you are correct. I don't necessarily know if the line would have worked here. So I think Swords to Plowshares would have been the 7th card, -2/5. So actually, if we did take the deep dive.
We don't know that. The Swords could have come off the second Uro draw. I mean, there's...
yes. Yeah.
It's possible that it still could have worked, but certainly what you're saying, I mean, I'm not going to fault anyone for not realizing that. That's not the most obvious play ever, but that is, something that sets apart, very top level players from, other people like me, where you don't always see even the top level players miss things all the time. Magic is obviously a very complicated game, but that was a very high level play.
What do you mean, Joe? I have never made a mistake in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty fair statement to say. I only remember watching you play a couple entire matches. Yeah, they weren't. I mean, if anyone's to hear about Anuraag screwing up playing, you could go back and watch one of our previous month's broadcasts. I'm sure they're littered in there, as I know I've brought them up.
I will call it fake news and pass the turn. But no, here it's just definitely compounding. We see Teferi, Time Raveler, we see Oko, Thief of Crowns, and at this point...
Yeah, what even happened on that turn? I was trying to come up with a way to not talk about your deficiencies as a player again. And then, in the meantime, 2 Planeswalkers entered play.
Not only that, Brickman is actually just a solid 30 life. I mean, this is good luck, have fun kind of territory.
That's good. We can Teferi can be killed. That's something.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the end of that match, as Justin puts a hurting on Keegan Hopper there in game 2 to take down the match.
Yeah, and I want to say that match was definitely sponsored by Carpet of Flowers, generating what 6, 7, 8, 9, so much mana.
I thought that second carpet wasn't going to be too impactful, but Justin was able to find uses for the mana and just have his board explode there. That was pretty good. So
yeah.
Justin, I think, is up to 5-1.
Okay, yeah. So looks like his next round is going to be a potential winner then, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah. Well,
you are as to whether we have a backup match this round or not.
Sure.
Sounds like the backup match has already ended, but we are going to go ahead and look at the pairings to see how this is going.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, looking at the matches. Okay, so we saw the 5-0s did intentionally draw, so looks like they're a lock for top 8 here.
Okay, just so MaxCon put a ton of work into this. The game score that's shown there for the 2 undefeated players drawing, it should be 0-0-3, in case you're kind of weirded out looking at that. Isn't that correct? Okay. All right. It looks like the 3 is in the middle because it's like even-ish on both sides. All right. It's fine.
I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of a fan of this anyways because you see it's like a little face that's like kissing, like 0-3-0 kind of deal. So
I guess it's fine. I like it too because it's easier to see, because if it's just one score for 2 players, it's, you want the number closest to that player to represent their score. Makes sense. I like it. Let's keep it this way.
Yeah, but let's take a look at some of the other matches, though. So Matthew Ferrando, 0-2 against Luca Bodmer, playing Bad Miracles. We saw just now Brickman versus Hopper. 4-color Snoko did take it. Oh, Satosh on Demir combo on Tin Fins did not, unfortunately, beat the Omnitel Menace. I got to say, like, maybe Force of Will plus Veil of Summer is pretty good in that matchup, too.
Yeah.
And then Jim Dudek on 4-color Snoko taking the win against Teamer Delver. Dom Harvey losing to Echo Stompy against Greg Dyer, who we did see earlier in the feature match. And then continuing on the right side, what do we have?
Well, it looks like we've got Max Kowanowski, who did all our previous events with Teamer Delver, losing to Lewis Kaplan on Golgari Depths. So Golgari Depths, in the end, showing slightly stronger than Selesnya Depths, but both putting up good finishes. Esper Vile, which we have not seen yet. We did see it last time around, doing fairly well as David Delgado takes down another 4-color snow color deck. Delver Mirror.
Yep.
We have Death and Taxes, which we've not seen yet.
And I think Yoshimura was in the top 8 of our last event, too.
Yeah. We have the Hogak deck won again against Eldrazi Stompy. That I have no trouble believing, as Hogak is just going to outsize everything. Eldrazi is used to having the biggest creatures, and that's not going to happen when you're playing against Hogak.
Yeah, something about 0 mana 8/8 just makes me feel like the 5/5. I just remember the days where like the 5/5 was the most of my worries, and now we're just like in a new age where it's just like, no, combo kill you, and I've got a reasonable beatdown plan too. So yeah. And Austin Blackner is 2-0 here against Ryan Marvin. So Rug Delver rounding out the standings here, beating John Lance. So I'm just kidding. Got a couple more rounds still going on here, but it looks like Simic Infect does take a win in this round. And then these 3 rounds, let's see, we've got Jeskai Control against 4-color Snoko, Mono Black Midrange. Now that's an interesting one versus Eldrazi Stompy. And then finally Omnitel against Jun Lands here. So I guess we're waiting on some of these matches to finish. But in the meantime, you can hang out with us where we will talk about Joe, where's the script? I got to read the next topic.
You can't just start a conversation like that and then trail off into nothing and leave it all on me, man.
I'm sinister, I know, just as I expected. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I guess let's see if based on the numbers, it looks like there's going to be a healthy amount of Delver in our top 8, right? So with 5-1-1 should be able to make it, and I guess that means that Snow is technically a lock for the top 8 too. So congratulations to Brickman for crushing this tournament as well. That's very good, very good.
So let's see. I didn't get a final player count today after the morning started. Okay, so we're at 68 players today. So that means it should be a very soft cut, and a lot of 5-2s potentially could get in.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, still hope for a lot of the players that are in it. Maybe come down to tiebreakers at the end, but yeah, 2 losses certainly has not put you out of the event at this point. So that's good. I don't know personally if I'm playing. I don't know. It's just. I mean, it's something that kind of comes up amongst in conversation among friends, like every few years when you're at an event, like, does it feel like it's easier or harder when it's a soft cut versus a really hard cut that's around, if it's 60 players versus 68 players, it feels like it should be easier to top 8 when it's 60 because there's fewer opponents.
Mm-hmm.
But 68, 5 and 2 can make top 8, and with 60, 2 losses and you're done. So that is kind of, I don't know, something that strikes me as amusing that it's, this disparity between the two, and it's not really clear, even though it certainly is clear. We're just too dumb to really take advantage and figure out which one it is.
I was playing in the Vintage Challenge yesterday and on Magic Online, and there were 63 players, and I was like, yes, I'm so excited. This means that we don't have a 7th round. And then I just thought to myself, oh, but wait, no, now I have to top 8 at X and 1. I still got there, though, just a weird flex, but the breaker math and the mathematics behind the tournament structure is definitely something that's kind of interesting, and it's kind of also interesting to study because, like, okay, I know I should have known this beforehand, but the other day I found out how to calculate tiebreaker math, which is literally just add up the wins and losses and divide it by whatever. But
wow.
It gives me something to do in the downtime. So like in between rounds, I'll just be like, okay, and my opponent from this round had 1 in 4. Oh gosh, and then that kind of deal. So something
that amused me in the regional pro players tour online, being in the big chat room Discord with all these other people who are established players who have had a lot of success, and there was questions being asked by recognizable player names like, so how does this bracket thing work? Or how many rounds are in this tournament based on the number of players? Like, how do you not know this already? I was so surprised.
Yeah. And, I hear you.
But yeah, it's just something that, like, it seems second nature to some of us, and for other people, it's just something that you don't necessarily need to know to play in a Magic tournament. Honestly,
and
the people that ignore all this garbage and just work on their decks, maybe they're doing better.
Yeah. That's something that I definitely want to nail home too, is that is like the mentality that, like, don't think about it in terms of like the entire tournament. Just take it one match at a time. You just want to win, right? Play the best Magic, and then like however the breakers break, like some of that stuff is just out of your control, so no reason to think about it, right? At least that's my general mantra for these kind of things. Is like, we get there, we get there.
I understand that in theory is a good way to go. Are you able to actually do that yourself?
I do get nervous for sure sometimes. So it is hard, but like at the end of the day, I mean, also sometimes when you get like bigger events, like 15 round events, I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to put the effort into it because that's just like a lot. So, but like, however it plays out is sometimes you're just at the luck of the draw or whatever it is. So, yeah.
All right, so we're going to step away for a few minutes for commercial, and then we'll be back for the last round of the Swiss. So stick around, and we'll be back momentarily.
All right.